Hi, friends. I have another wonderful story for you today. It's called Harold's Fairy Tale. And that is called the title. And it's by Crockett Johnson. And he's called who writes the book? The author. So he's the author of this book. All right, called Harold's Fairy Tale. If you don't see my picture throughout the story, it's okay. It was not space for me for my picture in the pages, okay? All right, here we go. Harold's Fairy Tale. Oh, before we start, I want to tell you that he has a big imagination. And this is a fairy tale that Harold's going to create. And some of the things are real and some are imaginary. He has a big imagination. So we're going to look for things that are real and things that are imaginary. And imaginary means things that are not real, right? Like dragons and mermaids. They're not real. All right, here we go. Oh, Harold's Fairy Tale. Ooh, look at it. He's got a crayon or a marker. He's drawing with it. I wonder what he's going to make. Whoa, I see a unicorn and a moon. Maybe a castle. There's a big hill. And on the letters over here it says to the enchanted garden. I wonder what he's going to make. One evening, Harold got out of bed. He took his purple crayon, and the moon along and went for a walk in the enchanted garden. Nothing grew in it. If he hadn't known it was an enchanted garden, Harold scarcely would have called it a garden at all. To find out what the trouble was, Harold decided to ask the king. Oh, there's no garden. Kings live in large castles. Harold had to make sure the castle was big enough to be the king's. He didn't want to waste time talking to any princes or earls or dukes. Oh, so look at, he took his crayon and he is making a castle. He's using his imagination. This was a king's castle, all right. It had tall towers and a big drawgate to keep out the people the king didn't want to see. But when the drawgate was drawn closed, it kept Harold out too. Uh-oh. So he made the gate, but how is he he can't get into the castle now. Oh, that was silly, huh? I wonder what he could make to get into the castle. Harold shouted for the king to come down and let him in. King, come let me in. But the gate didn't open. He walked along the edge of the enchanted garden beside the smooth wall of the castle until he thought of his purple crayon. Ooh, what does you think he's going to make? A person smaller than a very small mouse would be able to get in. Without even bending, he walked into a very small mouse hole. Oh, look at, he made a mouse and a little mouse hole. Oh, and he could fit in that mouse hole. Where is he going? Is he going to go find the king? He walked through the mouse hole into the castle. He invited the mouse in too, but the mouse preferred to stay outside. As he gazed around inside the big castle, Harold felt very tiny. Oh, the mouse didn't want to come in. And But a king might not pay much attention to anybody who was smaller than a mouse. So Harold used his purple crayon again. He made sure he was as tall as 4.5 steps of stairs. That's his usual height. Also, he needed some stairs to make him feel tall. So he's drawing some stairs. He's using his imagination. Then he climbed up the stairs looking for the king. He went up and up and up until he got so tired he couldn't climb another step. Whoa, he made a lot of stairs. He keeps going higher and higher. Luckily, there were no more steps. He had reached the top. He still couldn't find the king, but he remembered kings sat on thrones. The king's throne looked very comfortable. Harold thought the king wouldn't mind if he rested a few minutes. So he sat on the throne wondering what it was like to be a king and to wear a crown. Uh-oh, where's his crown? What should he do, friends? Should he draw a crown? Oh, you're right. Look at. He used his imagination and his crayon. He tried it with the king's crown. It was all right for a while, but the crown began to feel really heavy. So Harold put it on the king's head. As he thanked the king for the loan of the crown, he noticed that the king looked sad. No doubt because of the garden. Oh, he thinks the king looks sad because of the garden. There's no garden. He asked the king if the trouble was due to a witch or a giant. The king couldn't say which. He looked sad and helpless. Evidently the giant or witch, if the king couldn't tell which it was invisible. But Harold told the king not to worry. He set out to find the invisible witch or giant, brandishing his purple crayon. And accidentally, it made a hole in the wall. Uh-oh, that's funny. He made a hole in the wall. Look at, he's going to crawl through the hole in the wall. Now, if I drew on my wall a hole, like a circle in my wall, could I be able to crawl through it? No. So that's an imaginary, right? He's pretending. It's not real, but he's pretending he would do this. The accident embarrassed Harold, but the hole was the handiest way out of the castle, and he climbed through it. When he looked down from the other side of the hole, he realized he had forgotten how high up he was. He needed something tall to climb down on, something as tall as a steeple. To fill the hole in the castle, Harold put a handsome and useful clock in it. He was surprised to see how late it was. He slid down the steeple to find the invisible witch or giant right away. It wasn't a steeple. It was a pointed hat. It was a giant witch. Oh my goodness. Look at, he made that. The purple crayon made it plain. It was an invisible giant witch. Well, no wonder nothing grew in the enchanted garden. How could anything grow? Harold said to himself, with a giant witch tramping around with big feet. Now that he saw what the trouble was, all Harold had to do was drive the witch out of the enchanted garden. Mosquitoes! Mosquitoes! Harold knew will drive anybody out of the garden. Oh, yeah, because mosquitoes. Do you guys like mosquitoes? I don't. They're pesky, right? They bite you. Yeah, they leave little bumps on your skin, and they make them itch. Yeah. These mosquitoes are yucky. The mosquitoes drove out the witch. They were driving Harold out of the garden. he had to make smoke to get rid of the mosquitoes. And he had once heard somebody say that when there's smoke, there must be a fire. To put out the fire, he thought first of fire engines, but he decided to make it rain. Rain was easier. Oh, so he wants to put the smoke out, and he was thinking about drawing a fire truck, but then he decided to make rain because it was a little bit easier, right? The rain soaked everything, Harold too, but he said, it's good for the flowers. And he was right. Soon there were flowers. Why do we need friends to make flowers grow? We need a seed, right? And then we dig a hole in the dirt and we cover it up. And then what helps it grow? Rain and sun. Beautiful flowers popped up all over the enchanted garden, more than Harold was able to count, all in gorgeous bloom. Harold thought how delighted and happy the king would be when he looked out from the castle in the morning. Wow, that's a lot of flowers. Then amazingly, the last flower turned out to be not a flower at all, but a lovely fairy. She held out her magic wand, as fairies always do when they're giving somebody wishes that will come true. Harold couldn't think of a thing to wish for, but to be polite, he took one wish and told the fairy he'd use it later. Besides, Harold thought as he started on his long walk home, a wish might come in handy sometime. After all the excitement, he suddenly felt tired, and he had stopped to rest a while. He sat on a small rug because the ground was still somewhat damp from the rain, and he wished. Ooh, what is he going to wish for? He wished the rug was a flying carpet. At once Harold felt it rise in the air, and it flew fast and high. Hey, this reminds me of a movie. I have a connection. Have any of you watched Aladdin? In the movie Aladdin, there's a magic carpet ride. But when it went so fast, it left the moon behind. Harold realized he didn't know how to stop the carpet or even how to slow it down. He wished he had taken 2 wishes from the fairy so he could wish the flying carpet would land. Uh-oh, how is he going to stop this carpet? But he did have his purple crayon, so he's going to use his imagination. And he's like, how am I going to stop this? So he landed the flying carpet in his living room, right behind the high-backed chair his mother sat in knitting. And he asked her to read him a story before he went to bed. The end. So that's another fun story. That was a fairy tale story that I read you. And Harold had quite the imagination, didn't he? He used his purple crayon to draw lots of stuff in his imagination. You could use crayon, but remember, crayons and markers go on paper only, right? Not on the wall, because that might make your mom and dad upset. Paper only. So grab a piece of paper if you like, and you could draw a picture and use your imagination. Maybe you want to make a flying unicorn. Maybe you want to make a mermaid. Maybe you like to make a big giant. Maybe you would like to make a dragon. Those are all imaginary things. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and I will have another story for you tomorrow. All right. Goodbye.